Hello everybody, today we're talking about the best Saturday morning cartoon. Well, you could mistake it for that. This is actually a video game. One of the best video games I've played in a while. It's called Freedom Planet. Freedom Planet is very often mistaken for Sonic the Hedgehog, or a Sonic the Hedgehog fan game, or a Sonic the Hedgehog clone. But it's none of those things. It is a game that draws very heavily on the Sega Genesis era games. The concept gotta go fast is definitely in there, and the character Lilac indisputably plays like Sonic if Sonic could spin dash in the air. But the game itself is a little more focused on action, and as a result, all the main characters have attacks. The main character Lilac, again, plays like Sonic. There's a side character that plays somewhat like Knuckles, and when you look at the third character and her ability to kind of hover with her ears, you'd think for a moment that she's Tails, but oh my god, is she not Tails. Freedom Planet was kickstarted for $25,000. It features full voice acting, a consistent art style across the entire game, and the only real criticism that people seem to have about the game, the story, is that the story is really cheesy. And I actually believe that the creators of this were aware of that. They were aware of the kind of game they were going for, or specifically the kind of story they were going for, because this story very closely mirrors the atmosphere and feeling of the early Saturday morning cartoons that were inspired by Sonic the Hedgehog and other things like it.
Blue streak speeds by. Sonic the Hedgehog, too fast for the naked eye. Sonic the Hedgehog, look out when he storms through. Sonic the Hedgehog, don't doubt what he can do. Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic, he can really move. Sonic, he's got an attitude. Sonic, he's the fastest.
So basically, there's this kingdom stone that supports the peace and prosperity of this planet, and it's the foundation and energy source for everything. Unfortunately, there's an alien named Brevin who's planning to steal it. He is the equivalent of Dr. Robotnik. In the sense that he's basically corrupting people, spreading robots all over the land, so on and so forth, and everything you fight is directly related to Brevin. But unlike Dr. Robotnik, or Eggman as he's called, who tends to be a comical sort of character, Brevin goes and chops the king's head off right in the introduction sequence. Yeah. Hell, it seems like when the villain pulls out his knife, someone's gonna die. In short, if this were a ripoff of Sonic the Hedgehog, well, it's a lot better than Sonic the Hedgehog. Keeping in mind that I was a fan of everything from the original Sonic the Hedgehog to Sonic and Knuckles, the game where you opened up the cartridge piece, locked on the other game, and now you had Knuckles in your other Sonic game. That is what I remember. Classic games. In fact, if you really feel like you want to be a Sonic purist, check out Sonic & Knuckles and Sonic 3 on Steam. I'll have a link in the video description to that and to Freedom Planet. I recommend playing both, and I recommend comparing both, because they play a lot alike, but unlike most games that bank on nostalgia, this one brings more to the table, because anytime you have something that banks on nostalgia, it needs to be better than the nostalgia. And in this case, they succeeded. As far as I could tell, there are no Chaos Emeralds or necessary collectibles in order to get the best ending. And for the most part, the boss fights are horribly unforgiving.
I've got you now.
So, yeah.
Get over here, you
Okay.
bug-eyed freak.
on. Yes. This is how it's done. No flamethrower. No thanks. And when I say horribly unforgiving, I mean they've got an attack-defense pattern. And as long as you follow that pattern, you can dodge pretty much all of the boss's attacks. But you may die 6 or 7 times while you're figuring out the pattern. The game comes with a casual mode for people who don't play video games, an easy mode, which is pretty much recommended for every single person who watched my live stream of Freedom Planet and went, "This game's too hard." Yeah, easy mode's for you, son. And then normal, which you expect to die 50,000 times if you're like me and kind of shit. And then hard mode, which I really want to get around to playing sometime soon because it seems like a lot of fun. The only boss I actually had to look up information on was the final boss. And oddly enough, I was on the right track to victory already. It's just that the final boss's overwhelming strength kind of demoralized me. To the point where I had to watch a YouTube video really quick of someone beating his first phase, and I'm like, oh, that's his first phase. Okay, we're done. I got this. Upon final reflection, that hour I was fighting the Arctic boss, it doesn't matter. Other people would have rage quit. I had a lot of fun. So I do one attack. He jumps back. I do another attack. He jumps way back, and if he jumps way back, that's it. I'm basically screwed. Okay, see, these are small jumps. When he does small jumps, it's not a problem. When it's large jumps, it is a problem. Died to the frickin' shockwave. Problem is, if I get under him in order to be able to do what you're talking about, then I take a hit every time.
Let's go.
So, if I get too far over and he's facing the wrong direction, I lose as well. Up we go. Got it. Alright, that was the mini-boss. Other than a couple minor puzzles where I kind of got lost, I find that the game flowed extremely, extremely well. And to anyone who is a fan of retro platformers, I just highly recommend it. Now, after the moderate to high success of Freedom Planet 1, they went ahead and posted an announcement trailer for Freedom Planet 2.
Just as you wish, Magister. And all that will remain are monsters.
They have no plans to do a Kickstarter for Freedom Planet 2. They're just running off of the profits of the first game, which I think is A-okay. I think that's amazing that a developer was that self-conscious where, yeah, we needed a Kickstarter to get it going, but once it was going, we have a successful company now, and we're going to show it to you. And I'm very interested in seeing how Freedom Planet 2 develops, but in the meantime, Freedom Planet 1 is an amazing game, definitely worth playing. Now in the video description, I'm also going to link a couple speedruns people did for the summer event, as well as that live stream I was talking about. Basically 7 hours of me playing Freedom Planet on normal mode. At the end of the day, I only have one criticism of the game. One. That is that Lilac, the main character, the one I prefer to play as, she shouts Cyclone far, far too much. And perhaps there should be a cooldown on her Cyclone shouting, maybe once every 2 minutes or something like that, because the sheer amount of Cyclone attacks that I would perform throughout a stage, I'd be hearing her go, Cyclone, 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 and that's really my only criticism. Otherwise, it is pretty much the perfect Sega Genesis game that was made on the PC. And the storyline, while it bothers others, to me is the perfect homage to those old 90s cartoon shows. I can accept it for what it is because I don't expect a great story out of a game like this. I expect great gameplay. And boy, did I get great gameplay. Freedom Planet, buy it. Thank you all for watching. Check the social media links for more content, and I will see y'all next time.